Welcome back to my garden in June. Today is June 21st. It's a Saturday and I'm hosting my annual garden party this weekend. So we just had the first group of people come today and we have the next group coming tomorrow. So I thought, what better time to come out here and take a video while the garden's looking this good. So colorful. It's so interesting because we've never had a season like this that it seems like so many of the late spring flowers are still lingering on, and I have quite a few of like the later summer plants starting to bloom on top of the early summer things here. So it's just so many things are in color right now, and it is quite beautiful out here. Lots of eye-catching plants to look at. So let's start right here. We're in the driveway garden. And we're going to start right here. These beautiful coneflowers are the Sunseeker rainbows. They sort of start out as more of the like peachy orange and yellow tones, and then as they fade out to a little bit more of a pink and even older, they do get a little more dull, but they're very pretty. Lots of petals. More of a horizontal display, nice big cone, and pretty large blooms. I would say those are easily at least 4 inches across. And the other coneflowers we have over here with a little bee enjoying that. These are one in a melon. Silver mound artemisia right there on the border of the path, along with some other annuals that are kind of low growing, mounding habit. Beautiful ageratum. There's vinca, a little Zaharis zinnia tucked back in there. We also have some of that violet riot salvia, like I said, just sort of lingering on. See, the pollinators are just enjoying every little ounce of that while they still can. Hardy geranium, you know, blooms a little bit heavier in the spring, so it's kind of in a lull now, but there's just a few hanging on, and we appreciate that. My Queen of Sweden rose. There are a couple of buds starting to form, so we'll see them eventually, just maybe, I don't know, another week or so. The unfortunate news is the Japanese beetles have arrived, so they always devour my rose buds. So I doubt we'll see these bloom until they're gone. So white flowering calamentha on the front here. You know, these will bloom a little heavier like later in the season, but some of them are starting too early, which is always great. And down here on the front, there's a sedum. I believe this is called Little Miss Sunshine, but I'm not sure. This is given to my husband from one of his coworkers who I guess had too much of this to handle, so they just gave us a bunch, but I've added it to the garden. Always planning to keep it in check because I've heard it can kind of get out of control. And then we've got the Arizona apricot gaillardia here. Really appreciating the heat of the summer. Oh my goodness. Salute light pink salvia hanging on. There's a little grouping of the dahlias back here. These are supposed to be Edge of Joy. This group isn't blooming yet, but I do have other groups that are, so we'll see some of those as we get down the way here. Some of the Blue Fortune hyssop in the back. Blooming early. Bees already enjoying that. Rose glow barberry looking wild and crazy. I'll probably end up just giving that a light prune after this weekend just to kind of get it back into shape. Ascot rainbow euphorbia. Always love this plant. So easy to tuck in anywhere. Beautiful evergreen, nothing eats it. Beautiful. and the white swan coneflower. I don't remember these getting this tall last year, and they're actually a little too tall in my opinion because they're kind of gonna be blocking the show that the hydrangeas are gonna be giving us soon. I have a group of 3 firelight tidbit hydrangeas back there. You can see some of the buds developing. They should start blooming next month. And yeah, this coneflower is well, she's kind of blocking everything. So I'll probably end up moving that at some point. Serendipity alliums on the front. Most of my serendipity alliums are right about at this stage, you know, sending up their buds. I do have one group that has started blooming already, which is unusual, but we don't mind. And the last bit of the Royal Candles Veronica. I did come in here and deadhead them, and so they sent up another set of blooms, which is why you can see some more of this beautiful, fresh blue spires. I really love this one. It's such a statement in the spring, and I love that it has the ability to rebloom. More of that ageratum on the front. Ogon spirea. I did give this one a light prune because it was sort of taking over this whole area. Looking really good now. I added some annual salvia. I want to say that's misty blue, but I'm not sure. But it's finally starting to bulk up and send out plenty of flower spikes, so that will certainly be colorful soon. And then I have a bunch of the common milkweed and some liatris behind there, trying to attract all the monarchs to my yard. This is a bleeding heart's false heliopsis starting to bloom here. And the red coneflowers are the sangrita. Look at how vibrant these are. And I love that contrast up against the baby blue spruce. Really pretty. There's some pineapple popsicle nyphophia peeking behind there, amongst more common milkweed and liatris. Another stand of the blue fortune hyssop way in the back there. And the Daisy May Shasta daisies. I have 3 like groups of these in the garden. These ones are looking pretty fresh. And up next is the purple de oro daylily. Essentially the exact same thing as the Stella de oro, but they're just purple instead of yellow. Equally beautiful, equally loved by the deer. Another group of the firelight tidbits back here. There's a dwarf, kind of raspberry colored bee balm on the front, just about out of bloom. Boxwood for just a little divide in between these groups, and this is my stand of the raspberry beret coneflowers, which everybody loved today. I'm so happy that they're doing so well on this spot. I've tried growing them in a different spot, the side of my house that got a little more of part sun, and they were really affected with the rosette mites last year. You can see a little bit of that happening, right? That's rosette mites. This is what they should look like, just a nice healthy center, but it's not a bad infestation. I've got some curly leaf parsley in here to attract my black swallowtails. Oh, and look at this. Can you guys see that praying mantis? I have so many of these in my garden, it's so crazy. And a nice big radiant lobelia capping it off on the corner here. Make our way around here to the back. Beautiful coleus. This is a Daphne. Another ascot rainbow euphorbia. A little more group of the serendipity alliums here. And then we've got some liatris. And I actually want to talk about this particular liatris for a second because I think this has Astor's yellow disease. Is it Astor's yellow or Astor yellows? I don't know. But I've had this before. 2 years ago. You can sort of see like this unusual growth. It's almost like witch's broom on the stalk. And it's only affecting this particular clump, which makes me suspect that there's, you know, something wrong with this group alone. I probably will end up pulling this out after the weekend, just to be sure. Liatris is a pretty easy to find plant. It's pretty affordable. I think I bought a bag of corms, 30 for $10 or something. Easy to grow, easy to replace, so, you know, unfortunately we're going to lose that one this year, but I'll have more next time. This Blue Fortune hyssop's got to be at least 4.5 feet tall. Does really well in part shade. Part sun. And our little sparrows made it. I had a little sparrow nest in here. Is the nest in here? Yeah, the remains of the nest still right there. That's where they were. I think they had about 4 little babies. It was really cute watching the parents teaching them, I don't know, how to hunt or something, but I saw one of the parents and one of the babies on the driveway doing some cute little things out here. Okay, let's pass over this way. King's Gold, cypress, dwarf smoke bush, pugster pinker, butterfly bush blooming. I've already had a deadhead this because the blooms, you know, started pretty early and then they faded pretty quickly. And then we've got the Stachyus humelo betony. Now this is not in full bloom, but I have footage of when it was, and it is, when it is blooming, it is like the pollinators just go crazy for this plant, and the rest of my perennials get no love. It's insane. Those blooms are just about spent. I will probably leave them up for another week or two so that my pollinators can still get every little bit that they want from this. But then I'll cut the stems down into the plant and we'll just enjoy the foliage as a ground cover. More of the calamintha on the front. Bleeding Heart's Heliopsis here. This one's in a little more sun, so it blooms a little bit earlier. Perfect summer colors. And my dahlia, it is starting to bloom. Let me actually sneak over there and look at this. Beautiful orange one. That's not even close to the size it will be. It's just developing right now, so I want to say they're close to 3.5 inches across. Beautiful orange. More of the Royal Candles Veronica on the front here. I did not deadhead these ones at all, so there's no fresh color on here. We're just enjoying what's left of the first bloom. This is Leading Lady Pink Dwarf Bee Balm, just about finished up. I have a little Gold Star Rudbeckia that's just beginning. And this is a Edge of Joy Dahlia. I don't have any good blooms to show you right now because the 2 that were on here just faded out. So that one's coming next soon enough. Sunjoy Barberry on the front, looking bright as always. Got a Miss Violet butterfly bush in the back. Variegated miscanthus grass. And then we have a nice hedge of the Miss Pearl butterfly bushes, about 2.5 feet tall and wide at this point. And on the front side, I just planted in some of these zinnias I started from seed. This is going to be a mixture of pinks and purples, and they'll probably end up getting about 3 to 3.5 feet tall and just be completely covered in beautiful flowers. And the zinnias and the butterfly bushes together are going to be major pollinator attractors. I can't wait to see how that looks soon. Across the way, we have another dwarf butterfly bush. This is not a pugster, but it is a butterfly candy, I think. I don't know the exact variety, but it's kind of like a purpley bluish color. This area on the left side of the maple is some of the worst soil that I have on the property. And so it's taken a while to find plants that can tolerate, you know, how hard and compacted and nutrient deficient it is. But the plants that are surviving here very well are the mango popsicle, Knifophia, the Arizona apricot, Gaillardia, look at all this in here, coneflowers, and the Indian summer rudbeckia. Looking pretty good. And then over here, we've got the Verbena bonariensis. Ended up being enormously tall. I was hoping these would be a little bit shorter, like the parent plant they came from, but they've reverted back to their native species, which is, you know, 5 feet tall. Still pretty, pollinators love it. I did have to come in here and sort of thin it out in certain areas because it was sort of distracting, in my opinion, a little distracting. You can see we've got some of the gladiolas setting their buds. I've had to stake them up already because they flopped last year, so I'm prepared now. More zinnias in around here. Little haughty hydrangea. You can see just a couple of blooms starting to form in here. I think this one gets 4 to 5 feet tall and wide. And this is one of my favorite shots right here. Just looking over this little section in the garden, across the pathway, and over into the far garden across. Just, I don't know why, I just love the layers in here. It's so pretty. We've got an encore azalea here. You can see the pink profusion salvia, you know, lingering on. Pollinators still enjoying that. Bird's nest spruce. There is a daylily here. This is the Salome peony display, and unfortunately the deer already came in here and took just about every single bloom out except for these. Shoot! The white coneflowers are the compact, let's see, Prairie Splendor compact white. Nice golden cones. Really beautiful. We've got some liatris in the back. So another stand of the little Joe pieweed. Some dill, which is also to attract my black swallowtails. Lilia, purple smoke bush. There's an endless lily coral, daylily. The deer have not discovered this one just yet. Dragon Prince cryptomeria. These daisy mays started first. They get a little more sun here, so they started blooming a little bit early, which is why they're fading out a little bit early. The one problem with this plant I don't love is that it doesn't rebloom for me. I know some people have been able to get it to rebloom. I've never been able to have this rebloom. And I feel like the spent flowers are just too unattractive to leave in the garden. So I end up cutting the entire plant and it doesn't look good. You know, it's just blunt. It just looks like, you know, something weird's going on here. So I'm not really planning to keep these in the garden for much longer. I'd like to find a variety that can either rebloom or has decent looking foliage after it's done blooming. More Ascot Rainbow Euphorbia. You can see how much the bees love this. Artemisia in the back. There's an annual salvia. I think this is the Playing the Blues salvia. Rock and Round, Bundle of Joy, sedum, flowering earlier than expected. Giles Van Hees, Veronica. And then we've got this group of Serendipity alliums starting to bloom now. Looking amazing with our Sensation Pink Cone flowers. Oh my goodness, I am obsessed. These are such a great combination because they're practically the same height, right? They just mingle so well. Royal Candles, Veronica, more Giles Van Hees, another Gold Star, little Gold Star Rudbeckia blooming here, starting. Silver Mound Artemisia. I love how it spills over, just so soft. Supreme Cantaloupe, cone flowers. I'm glad I'm catching these on camera now because the Japanese beetles destroyed these last year. Aren't these beautiful? This one here is the first one to start blooming, so you can see that's what the flower looks like. The rest are a lot fresher, so their cone isn't as fluffy looking. Such a fun one. Daylily here. Unknown variety. I think this one was sold to me as strawberry candy, but I've never really thought it was what the pictures look like online. Pugster Blue Butterfly Bush. Just starting. And the Glamour Girl Phlox. Oh my goodness. Very bright. I finally planted up my bird bath with a sedum. I think this is called Dragon's Blood. It's supposed to be like a red colored sedum. I don't know about you, but I struggle finding plants that have red tones or blue tones in my garden, so whenever I find a red or blue that I like, I'm always snatching those up. More Serendipity alliums on the front. Another stand of the Daisy Maze beginning to fade. Black Truffle Lobelia. I have some of the other lobelia that's a little more green. These were seedlings, so I think they're reverting back to whatever black truffle came from. So I'd be interested to see what color the blooms are. Bubble Bath alliums. A little bit larger than the Serendipities. I would say they're a little more paler pink. They're taller. Their leaves are blue toned and they have like a little bit of a wave to them. Can you see like a little bit of a twist? Kind of interesting. Another group of the Sensation Pink Cone flowers. I think that's a sweat bee. Indian Summer Rudbeckias here. You can see some of the ultraviolet phlox starting to bloom. Isn't that vibrant? Right. More Liatris, common milkweed, our oriental lilies. They're just about done. I think This one came out today, and we have one more bud to look forward to, and these will be done. Oh, they'll be missed. They were so pretty. There's a, is it Dragon's Breath? Dragon Breath Celosia right here. I just added this to the space. Or the red coleus. More of the firelight tidbits here. St. John's wort. I was hoping I wouldn't have to prune this twice this year, but I have a feeling I'm gonna have to do it. It's just getting a little too out of control. And this ginormous autumn joy sedum. This has got to be 2.5 feet tall and wide. It's practically a shrub out here. Crazy. Another autumn, sorry, not an autumn. It's a sunjoy barberry. Looking amazing. I love how it looks with the red coleus in the back. Pineapple popsicle nyphophia. Some of the coneflowers in the back are starting to bloom. These are the ruby giants. They just started, so they're not even fully developed, but these will usually be at least 5 inches wide. They're pretty generous. Pugster amethyst. Another group of the betony here. These ones don't get as much sun, so they started a little bit later. Fresher blooms. We can still see lots of pollinator activity here though. Aren't they cute? Little bumblebees. And then another group of the dahlias. Edge of Joy. This is not what the picture looks like online. I don't know if maybe just the first blooms are looking a little funny. Maybe they'll shape up as the season goes on. They're still pretty. Something to note. Serendipity alliums, and these coneflowers here are called butterfly kisses. I had these in a different location last year, and these were the worst infestation of rosette mites. And this year, they look amazing. Aside from a little bit of damage from the Japanese beetles already. Oh my goodness, aren't these adorable though? Beautiful little double, baby pink. They kind of have like a little bit of a yellow center. And look how many buds. Very generous with the blooms, love that. Serendipity alliums on the front here, front of the path. Radiant Sibylla, Ascot Rainbow Euphorbia, there's a Jacob's Ladder on the corner, more Calamantha, Golden Jubilee Hyssop in the back. I added some Plectranthus just because it has like a darker foliage. There is a Summer Crush Hydrangea. Pink flowers, right? More alkaline soil on this side. And then around the pathway here, nice boxwood, Ascot Rainbow Euphorbia. There's some more Sensation Pink Salvia on the front of that group of firelight tidbits. We've got the Anic Rose. Those dang Japanese beetles didn't wait at all. They just went right for this one bloom that I had. They just devoured this whole thing today. Stinkers. And I'm sure they'll be after these 3 buds in no time at all. Ugh. We still have to look forward to the Salmon Party Oriental lilies. I'm really surprised these haven't popped yet. And I really hope the Japanese beetles do not ruin that. I need to see what those look like. Wrangled arborvitae. Variegated obedience plant. Boy, are these looking so tall this year. We have the mighty chestnut daylilies. You can see these 2 are going to pop tomorrow. I just have to do everything I can to protect them from the deer because I don't know what it is, The deer don't really bother my garden because I spray liquid fence pretty regularly, but once the daylily buds start looking like this, where they're like really like fat, swollen, ready to go, that's when the deer come in and they just ruin everything. And I am so sad about it because I have two types of daylilies in my garden. I have these ones that bloom once, like they put all their energy into one bloom cycle, and that's it. I call them the one and done daylilies. And I have other groups like the endless lily coral, which are considered reblooming, so they have multiple flower cycles throughout the year. So if the deer were to attack those ones, it's not a big deal because they'll send up new flowerscapes and I'll get to see them eventually. But if the deer get these one and done daylilies, that's it. I have to wait a whole year to try and see these again. And it's just frustrating. Prismatic pink phlox on the front here. More dwarf bee balm. I think we already saw the ultraviolet phlox here, another variegated obedience plant. How can we resist that beautiful foliage? It's just so gorgeous. And that black truffle lobelia peeking through, oh my gosh. I really want to get more of this to add back there, kind of like in between the tall Joe Pyeweed and the Glamour Girl phlox, because I feel like I could use some more dark foliage in there. I used to have the Casablanca lilies. I had to remove those because there's just too much of a damp spot in there. And now there's a big gap. I know you can't tell because it just looks like a jungle in here, but there is a big gap right there. And I think that black truffle lobelia would be amazing. Golden Jubilee hyssop. Granada gold coneflowers. These ones are a good one. I mean, the color, I know a lot of people don't really like this color. It's not their favorite. But this one does not disappoint. It is reliable. It blooms a lot. It lasts a long time. It's a good one. The last of the opening act white phlox. You can see most of the seed heads on here, but a few like lingering on. Still looking pretty. Another daylily. These ones have all faded, so looks like we'll have one new bloom tomorrow. Giles Van Hees on the front, perfect for the front of the border. And this is a golden Hellery holly on the front there. Sun Sparkler, Dazzleberry, sedum, hot pink flowers, purple foliage, and the Kismet Raspberry coneflowers. Always stunning. I think this one was the first to bloom, and that's probably pretty close to 5 inches. Nice big blooms, vibrant color, nice orange cone. And we have the variegated hibiscus, sugar tip. We can see one bloom today. There's another bloom coming tomorrow, but that's sort of the color that they are. And this will get bigger in time. Joe Pyeweed. Comfortably 4.5, maybe 5 feet tall at this point. And I can already see some buds developing up here. I've noticed a lot of pollinators checking it out. You know, they're like wondering, hey, when are these flowers going to open for us? Probably next month. Last bit of betony on the front here. Again, once these stems or flowers fade, I'll cut the stems like deep down into the plant, and we'll be left with beautiful like shorter ground cover on the front, because right now they are a little tall, kind of blocking the view of what's behind here. But probably in 2 weeks I'll come here and cut them back, and you'll actually be able to see the mugo pine the veranda cream rose, the iris foliage. It'll just look a little tidier in here. Whew, it's hot out here. Okay, let's head to the backyard. Okay, so right here we have two Sun King Aralias, which are finally, you know, they're getting so big. I'm so happy with the size that they are now because they're starting to hide all the, you know, the ugly stuff we have on the wall there, utility stuff. And they're such a great plant for the shade. I mean, truly, what an impact. It's hard to believe that these are a perennial that completely disappear in the wintertime and then emerge in the spring and get this big. It's crazy. There is a hydrangea down here. This is the Seaside Serenade Hamptons hydrangea. No blooms this year. I'm a little confused. I thought this would be the perfect spot for it. Morning sun. I definitely get enough water. Not sure what's going on here. I have a bunch of little plants. These are actually party favors for the garden party. Everyone gets to take a little plant home. I got these at a local nursery. They were selling little plugs for $1 a piece. These are coneflowers, powwow white. $1. Are you kidding me? Who could resist? Perfect little party favors for a garden party, right? Got some astilbes tucked in there. I transplanted a Aquatic grass. It used to be the variegated variety, but it ended up reverting back mostly to just green. So I moved it out of an area I used to have it in. It's just kind of here for now. There's a purple de oro daylily here on the front, but you wouldn't know it because the deer came in here and nipped off a bunch of the blooms and buds. Settle down, Rev. I have some millennium alliums here. What do I have? 1, 2, maybe 6 of them here on the front. These were the first alliums that I ever added to my entire property, millennium here. And once I discovered serendipity, I went serendipity the rest of the way because I love it so much. But I obviously keep these here. You know, they're still nice. They just have more of the green tone foliage. And I tend to like the blue. I did change this little corner up a little bit because I've really been needing an area to stash my plants or to put my plants that I'm rehabbing in an area that's, you know, not in direct sunlight, close to a hose bib, kind of tucked away, like not an eyesore, you know, so it just kind of makes perfect sense to tuck it in there behind my Forever Goldie arborvitae. All right, you can't even see them now. I have some cone flowers, which is interesting. I have to tell you this. In the fall of 2021, I purchased sombrero salsa red coneflowers, and they have all reverted back to purple this year. It's wild. Look at this. More over here. There's like this little tiny group that's trying to hang on to red, but they're definitely like more orange than anything. And I'm sure next year it's all going to be purple. Interesting how that happens. I don't understand that, how genetics can change the plant. I understand how it can change the seed, but I don't understand how it changes the plant. I'm curious to know if anyone else out there has had that happen to salsa red coneflowers. All right, we've got more of these dahlias. Unknown variety, but very beautiful. And there were so many little bumblebees on these today for the party. Everyone loved seeing these. Backdraft Nyphopia right in here. You can see another little bloom starting down there at the base of this plant. I'm really surprised we don't have more blooms on this by now. Oh. The Crystal Peak obedience plant starting to bloom. I've had issues with these flopping So I think after they're done blooming, I'm probably going to try the Chelsea chop on them and see if we can get them to rebloom and kind of stay a little more sizable. Blue zinger grass on the front there, more of the Little Miss Sunshine sedum. And then I also added in a blue shag white pine. I found this at one of the box stores for a ridiculously affordable price. It was one of those moments where I was like, okay, I know how much this is worth and I have to get it. Even though I don't know where I'm going to put it, I'm going to get it. I'm going to find out where I'm going to make a place for it. I don't care. And so here it is, full sun, well draining soil. I think these stay a little more wide than tall. So maybe they get 4 feet wide, 3 feet tall, something like that. So I had to move a couple plants around to squeeze that in there, but I think that will be a great addition. We've really been needing some more evergreen pieces in this section because aside from the Japanese holly, Forever Goldie arborvitae, blue zinger grass, and this, everything else on this front section all the way to those junipers is perennial and will die back. So it's going to be like a ghost town in the wintertime. Something to work on. All right. Another poster blue butterfly bush. Hasn't quite started blooming yet. Another little gold star rudbeckia. There's a coreopsis here, and I don't know the name. It's supposed to be like kind of a raspberry color with white through it. I don't really have the best luck with coreopsis. They usually like last a year. I think it's our clay soil. It's just not well draining enough. They always end up dying. Mazus reptans, ground cover on the front here. A lot of people were asking about this at the party. This can get a little out of control. I find it's very easy to move around. If you have it like growing up into your perennials, you can just kind of pull it away. It doesn't like root in deeply, and you can easily just pull it and plop it down somewhere else where you want it to sort of root in. I would still say like plant at your own risk, you know, depending on how much maintenance you want to give your garden. It might not be the right plant for you, but for this particular area it's perfect because we have this like step down onto the patio and the soil level kind of drops here. And so if we don't have a ground cover here, all the soil just washes and collects in this little corner here. So for us, it makes sense to have a nice ground cover to hold everything back. There's a beautiful white shepherd named Rhea. Hey, pretty girl. More Artemisia. There's a chrysalis blue butterfly bush here, some liatris. More things. This was kind of just thrown together, you know. I pulled the butterfly bushes out of here, the Miss Pearl butterfly bushes out of here early in the spring, and so these beds on either side of the stairway were barren. And I haven't really put a lot of thought into what I want this to be in the long term, so a lot of extra perennials that I had, divisions, from my existing gardens, and I added a lot of annuals. And yeah, it's just, we'll see what happens. Same thing over here. There's zinnias, Nyphophia, butterfly bush, kind of more of the same. I do want to show you these containers really fast. I got these they're pre-made containers. They were only $20 each, but this has like an amazing clump. Hey guys, come on. Amazingly large clump of lemon coral sedum. That alone is worth at least $10. This butterfly bush, look at this. Have you guys seen anything like this? It has more of like a flat top than, you know, that like pointy spire. Really interesting. Big red coleus. There's like a lantana in there. This one's got more of the coleus, lemon coral sedum. There's like a red annual salvia in here. Let me sneak up here really quick. Excuse me. Another one of these butterfly bushes. Like, these are perennials. I can easily add these to my garden. at the end of the season. Zinnias, look at that. Really happy with those. Okay, let's go check out the pond garden. Every single person that came to the party today made a comment about that hydrangea. Summer Crush hydrangea. I don't know, this thing is just on steroids. It's enormous, okay? It's gotta be at least 4 feet tall, probably 5 feet wide. It is abundant with blooms. Just such a little show off out here. We love it so much. You can see the ruby spider daylilies are, this one's gonna bloom tomorrow. I know it. You can see a little bit of that color opening here. Oh my gosh, I really want to see this. The deer got to this last year on a day like today when they were all budded up, ready to go, and they come in here and ruin the party. Oh, I want to see these so badly this year. Okay, we've got a nice like little river of the frozen margarita hostas. Can we just admire this color combinations? Hot pink, sun patience on the front, beautiful chartreuse green, hostas going down the slope there, and we've got this beautiful Summer Crush hydrangea. Oh, she's so stunning. The astilbe, I have like 4 or 5 different colors in here. The white ones always start first, and then the pinks, then the purples, then the red, and then I have this other one. It's more of like a mauve-y pink. It's a lot shorter growing, but it's nice that they all kind of bloom at different times. They don't go all off at once. It's sort of like this nice succession of astilbes through here. Really pretty. Shishi, ginkgo biloba in here. There's some more Ascot rainbow euphorbia tucked in and around. A variety of hostas. The deer have also been eating the flower blooms on the hostas, which I don't really care. Like, go nuts. I don't care about that. Just leave the leaves alone. So they've been respectful in that regard. Wedding gown hydrangea. I added this one last year. It's got a beautiful little bloom on it. The larger petals have like kind of a double ruffly form, and then there's like this kind of open center. Really, really pretty. And this does really well in like deep shade. Yeah, this like gets like an hour of morning sun. You can see a few of the goldfish in there. I think we have 7 at this moment, and the pickerel has started to bloom. Aquatic plants called pickerel. You can see the summon substance. Nice big leaves on that. You can see some of the blooms are starting to rise up. I won't be surprised if they're missing tomorrow morning. I love how this Hakana Chloe grass just kind of tucks in that corner. So pretty, so graceful. Elegans hosta, big blue. Really nice. The creeping Jenny is a creepin'. She's starting to encroach on my heuchera and the burgundy glow ajuga. I need to spend some time controlling her. These dogs, oh my gosh. Sorry. All right, we've got ghost fern. There is a small painted fern there. I think they would prefer the soil to be a little more on the damp side to really thrive, so I need to move that. I need to remember to move that somewhere else. Wrinkle in Time hosta. Halcyon is this kind of smaller leafed one. I need to move that because this is becoming a little bit crowded. It's starting to, you know, get covered up by that other one. Jack Frost Brennera, Raspberry Frost Pulmonaria, Rainbow's End hosta, another Halcyon. And look at this, I love this. Burgundy Glow Ajuga just kind of tucked in around the Scotch moss. Is that what that is? I think Irish moss is dark green and Scotch moss is this more bright green. They look so nice together. They look like they've been here forever. I love when plants start to do that. It's like, oh, it's meant to be. A little bit of the variegated Japanese iris, and I have some calla lilies. I added these to the garden in 2021, and they were sold to me as annuals, so I didn't expect for them to return, but they did, and they haven't flowered until now. Like, they flowered when I got them, and then here we are 4 years later, they're blooming again. I don't know what that's about. They've been in the same spot this whole time. More of that Crystal Peak Obedience plant, more Sun Patience. There's Black Scallop Ajuga on there. Radiant Sibilia right here in the corner. There's another one right behind the chimney. There's lots of beautiful things in here. Love the pond garden. It's just so relaxing and cool. Lots of interesting things to look at. Okay, and then down the side of the house, you know, this area is still such a work in progress. I'm not really that proud of it. It's kind of like my week garden. But we're gonna look at it anyway. I added in a globe blue spruce. I don't remember if I had this in the last video or not. It's new this year, but that's there now. I have my serviceberry tree that is just splaying. It's getting more horizontal than tall, and I don't know if I really want to keep it here forever. There's some frosty fern selaginella. This is the carnival watermelon heuchera. And also some serendipity alliums. Everything is just so weak over here. Doesn't get a lot of sun. There's a couple hostas in the back, another Rainbow's End, coast to coast. Arborvitae. The limelight hydrangeas are enormous. So enormous. Right now they look okay, but once they start blooming and then we get like a heavy rain, they're just gonna be a big mess. You'll see. Cordalo, Hinoki cypress. I have two others along this path here. Coosa dogwood. Wow, that thing is actually getting very tall. Blue Hawaii hostas. There's a rhododendron here. Burgundy Glow Ajuga. I love that plant so much. There's some more stilbes that I added to this section over here. And on this side, two more limelight hydrangeas. Carnival cinnamon heuchera. Variegated radicans euonymus. I love that one. I really need to bring that out to a more pronounced space. I need to show that one off more. It's kind of hidden under the Japanese maple. This is Orangeola, Japanese maple. Jack Frost Brennera here. There's a lot of we need to work in this area. It's just really challenging because that tree is very greedy with the water. And so whatever I plant there has to be able to handle dry conditions. A lot of root competition there. These three hydrangeas are the Painter's Palette. Wasn't overly impressed with their blooms this year. They didn't seem to be that large. They were pretty, they were colorful, but they weren't big and showy. I did not add mushroom compost to this area. I ran out in the spring, so you can see like kind of where that hydrangea is. The soil's nice and dark, and then everything this way is like nothing. So I'm gonna try something else. I'm gonna try and boost the soil in this area, and maybe that will help. Maybe I'll learn to love these hydrangeas, because so far I'm just not that impressed with them. And let's talk about unimpressive hydrangeas. Invincible wee white. Holy flopperific. Okay, I know we had a ton of heavy rain. If you're out in my area, Spotsylvania, Virginia, or Northern Virginia, anywhere around there, we got blasted with probably like 5 or 6 inches of rain in a week. Okay, and it wasn't just like a nice, gentle, steady flow. It was just pelting down. It was horrible. These poor hydrangeas just got knocked out. Okay, I have supports on them. Can you see the supports? And even still, boy, are they sad. Oh, look at this. How big this one's standing tall all on its own. Look at that. It's like a volleyball. I think I'll try like peony hoops next year, and hopefully that helps, and maybe they'll stay. Twombly's red sentinel maple doing its thing. We got some more of the Sun King Aurelias in the back. I have a big gap in here. I had the Steed's holly and the ruby spice clethra back there. I moved both of those. In fact, I forgot to point those out where I moved them to. We'll circle back to them, but I've got a lot of gaps in here to fill. I think I mentioned this in my last video, but my dogs have an invisible fence that goes all the way to this flag, and so I have to be very careful what I plant in here. Things that are non-toxic, because I have one of my dogs, the little black one over there, that's Bodie. He is my little chewer. He chews on branches and stems, so like hydrangeas. I have to be very careful. I have to cover these in the winter so he doesn't chew on the sticks. And I wouldn't plant any more azaleas or rhododendrons for that reason, but I gotta figure out what to do with that gap because it's pretty unsightly. Okay, over here, another Kousa dogwood. There's a, what is this? Starts with a C. Camellia. Oh my gosh, my brain, I'm sorry. Too many plants to remember. There's a camellia right here. This is a silver sword azalea. I had to move that from the area the dogs can get to because I didn't want him chewing on that. Little gem, Norway spruce. There's some lamium in here. Beautiful macrophylla hydrangea, unknown variety, but it usually has a variety of colors on here, blues, purples, and pinks. I think this bloomed a little heavier last year. I need to spend some time like really figuring out how to amplify the soil over here. Ivory halo dogwood. I've had this for about a month, and this thing needs water. Holy cow, will it just flop if it's not getting enough water. Pancake arborvitae, golden duke, hemlock. What's this? Ogon spirea, nice big Ogon spirea. The variegated plants here are cool splash honeysuckle, dwarf bush honeysuckle. There's a Tasman ruffles pittosporum right behind them, and then 2 of the Excelsa arborvitaes. A couple of the bloomstruck hydrangeas, also flowering pink, which tells me this is more alkaline soil over here. A couple rhododendrons. And then on this side, this big beautiful hydrangea is Sister Teresa. Oh, she is just so pretty. Nice white. Really stunning. Blue Boulevard cypress. Put on a little bit of a growth spurt recently. Some azaleas, just giving us some evergreen interest at this point. And then some more of the burgundy glow ajuga on the front of that border. Another variegated euonymus, variegated Japanese forest grass, another penisporum on the corner. Delft pink astilbe starting to bloom. These ones bloom a little bit later than most of the other varieties that I have. Ruby slipper oak leaf hydrangeas in the back. They're supposed to stay a little bit smaller. I was talking to someone about them today and she was showing me a picture. She's like, I have some oak leaf hydrangeas and they're like 10 feet tall. So I was like, I think I got like a dwarf variety. I think these only get like 4 feet tall, 5 feet wide, something like that. Jack Frost Brunnera. Another Sun King Aurelia. Emperor 1 Japanese maple. And then this is my little annual section. Oh, well, actually, hold on, let me back up here. I'm still working on finishing out this section with more of the burgundy glow ajuga. I've gotten pretty far there, but still got a little ways to go. More of the wedding gown hydrangeas. Look how gorgeous this one is. Deer have been here. Those little stinkers. Okay, and before I wrap up this video, I want to show you something. So I moved the Steed's holly right over here, okay, just to get it out of the way. I didn't know where else to put it. And after I did that, I was like, oh, it looks like I've created a new flower bed over here. So I guess I'll be developing this soon. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. I also added in a pawpaw tree because this is the host plant for the zebra swallowtail. So, yeah, I think we have a new garden bed underway. Okay, well, that's it for the June tour. So many pretty colors out here. Let's just get one last pass through here. It's just amazing. Again, seeing all these things blooming. I mean, the timing just could not be better for my garden party. Too cool. Okay, well, for next month, what can we look forward to? We still have the Firelight Tidbits to bloom. We've got the Serendipity Alliums, the Liatris will be blooming next month. I think Joe Pyeweed will be blooming next month. Yeah, we still have lots of things like on their way. So it's exciting. I'm so grateful for everything that's blooming right now. And I mean, this garden is just, it's incredible what it used to be and what it is now. And things have filled in the last month, like way more than I was expecting. My husband and I went to Colorado last weekend. We were gone for 4 days, and just between us leaving on Friday and getting back on Monday, we were both like, oh my God, the garden is just like on steroids. It's just crazy. We did have a lot of rain though. A lot of rain. But yeah. Everything is just crammed in here. And I love it. So thank you so much for watching. And I can't wait to show you guys what's happening next month in the July garden tour.